2023. I call the meeting to order. This meeting of the Hopkins Select Board is being held both in person and remotely using the video conference platform Zoom. 4 members are present in the meeting room, and we believe Shahidul Manan will be joining remotely, but in a moment. Okay. All 4 others are present in the meeting room, Town Hall, room 215, 216. And at this time, I will ensure that select board members participating remotely can hear and be heard. But Shahidul is not on the Zoom yet. Okay, so when we get back from executive session, we can see if he's on the Zoom. Okay, the public has the option of attending in person at Town Hall or via Zoom using the link posted in the meeting's agenda. This meeting is being recorded. All votes will be taken by roll call vote. And our first item on the agenda is to go into executive session, and we've targeted 1 hour for executive session tonight, which is unusual for us, so we expect to be back around 7 p.m. So I would entertain a motion to enter an executive session pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 38, Section 21A. What's it? What?
I said so moved. It's a little early.
Purpose 2, to consider strategy with respect to negotiations with non-union personnel, the town manager. Also, pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A, Purpose 6, to consider the purchase, lease, sale, or value of real estate in relation to properties in the vicinity of Town Hall, the Jenner property, 0 Spring Street, 0 West Main Street, and Lot B, rear West Main Street, and 3 contiguous parcels on College Street totaling 20.72 acres, because an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the negotiating position of the board. Also, to approve executive session minutes and to allow Norman Kamalo and Elaine Lazarus to participate in the executive session and to reconvene an open session at the conclusion of the executive session. And we will do a roll call vote.
Your Kramer, yes?
Second that.
Oh, sorry.
Second that.
Okay, now
Your
roll
Kramer,
call.
yes?
Irfan Nasrullah, yes.
Mary Jo Lafreniere, yes?
Amy Rodebush, yes. We will be back around 7. All right. Okay. All right, good evening. This is Amy Rodebush, and this is the Select Board open session for April 4th, 2023. We have just come back from executive session, and I call the open session to order, and we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. So please rise if you're able. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, and then the next item is our public forum. So people who want to speak at forum, we'll start with the people in the room first and then the people on Zoom. If anyone on Zoom wants to speak at public forum, it's helpful if they go ahead and raise their hand. Please note that each person will have up to 2 minutes to speak at public forum. Please start by stating your name and address, and I'll start with anyone in the meeting room. Is there anyone who would like to speak at public forum? All right, no one in the meeting. Oh, Mary Jo.
Well, I mean, it was nobody else, and I'm going to play Mr. Tedstone again and remind people that Pat Lynch passed away. Pat Lynch was the custodian here for many, many years here at this town hall, and his wife Rosemary wrote a newspaper column and was on the first marathon committee and many others, and the two of them have given a lot of their time and energy. He fed all the police and firemen that were here for the marathon down at one of the schools, and he ran the KFC, and so he fed a lot of people in town and did an awful lot of work for this town for many, many, many years, and I just wanted to acknowledge his passing.
Thank you.
And both veterans, both Pat and
Rosemary.
veterans of the United States military.
They met and got married in the Marine Corps.
Okay, so I don't see any other hands raised on Zoom or in the room, so I think we're done with public comment. Next, we have the consent agenda, which is just one item. The Select Board will consider accepting the resignation of Kathy Yang from the Sustainable Green Committee.
Madam Chair, I move to approve the consent agenda.
Any second?
Okay, any discussion?
Just appreciation for Kathy.
Yeah, thank Kathy for volunteering. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, then a roll call vote.
Ruffano Sola, yes.
Euro Kramer, yes.
Mary Jo Lafreniere, yes?
Amy Rodebush, yes. And actually, we don't have to do roll call unless Shaigo joins. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, so the next item on the agenda, it's funny, so in the motions document, it says the new business introduction, but on the actual agenda, it says Boston Marathon preparations.
Oh,
I think we
yes,
Yes, we were hoping that Mauricio and Elizabeth will be here much earlier so we can proceed with the Boston Marathon final prep.
Oh, I think they're on, Maurizio's on Zoom, I see.
Oh, okay. We'll proceed.
Okay, so, but that's the thing. So do you think it's better to do the restaurant first if they're here then?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so can we liven up Maurizio, and what was the other name?
Elizabeth.
Elizabeth. Don't see Elizabeth unless, okay.
Maybe they'll be together.
Okay, Maurizio, can you hear us?
Yes.
Okay. Yep. Yep, sounds good.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll have a new business introduction for O'Reilly Mexican Restaurant at 24 Main Street. The town manager will introduce O'Reilly Mexican cuisine. So you want to give us an update?
Yes. We've got exciting news. As we just confirmed, Elizabeth and Mauricio are participating remotely. They are the co-owners of O'Reilly Mexican Cuisine.
Oh, they're both on the Zoom.
There we go.
Yes. And they are opening a new restaurant at 2224 Main Street. For the record, the board will review their application for a common vic, entertainment, and Section 12 alcohol license on April 25th, 2023. So what we're doing tonight is to express our excitement and extend a warm welcome to Elizabeth and Mauricio. The presence of their restaurant on Main Street will add to the downtown as a social and family hub here in Hopkinton. It will bring to life a vacant building on Main Street. It will provide choices for families, individuals, and visitors coming to dine here in Hopkinton. The presence of their Mexican cuisine will diversify the cuisine that is available here on Main Street. As planners, we always think of restaurants in groups of 5. Our understanding as planners is that individuals are more likely to come to Hopkinton if we can get a conglomeration of 5 restaurants. So their being present on Main Street is aiding towards that. So I am asking and inviting the Select Board to join me in welcoming Orale here to Hopkinton.
Yeah, so that's great. I think we always appreciate a new restaurant. We have several that we like, but it's nice that it's something different type of cuisine, and it'll complement the others. So, does anyone else like to say
No,
anything, or we can ask them?
I'll just say that I'm excited for all those reasons. I'm excited to have that particular cuisine in town as well. It'll be wonderful to have some Mexican food available locally in town. And we want to do everything we can to support you and help you be successful here in Hopkinton. So welcome.
Thank you so much.
So just a couple quick questions. This is going to be like a taqueria, or is this a full-on sit-down restaurant with,
Sorry, you repeat the question? Sorry.
is this going to be like a taqueria, or is it going to be like more
Entrees and
of entrees, more of a full service?
It's a full service, yeah. I have around 10 tables and the bar around 10 seat and bar too.
Excellent. And any specialties? I love Mexican food. Any specialties? I love Mexican food, so.
No, most traditional Mexican food, nothing specific.
Excellent. Thank you. Well, welcome to town. Readable. I'm looking forward to it.
Definitely.
Okay.
Mary Jo?
Yeah, I have a question. The plan that we got is mostly for the kitchen. There's some stools and areas for people to sit.
Yes.
And the dining area is over here. How many people can you sit at one time?
If
If
I
you
may,
filled up?
yeah. So, Mary Jo,
It's 10 table and 4 people for table, around 40
Oh,
in the table, and another 10 more in the bar,
Yep.
10 more people in the bar.
Very good. Welcome.
Yeah, very excited.
Looking forward to it.
Thank you so much.
Norman, did you have something you wanted to add? You started to say something.
yes, if I may, again, the application is going to come before the board at a future meeting. Tonight, I just wanted to give the board the opportunity to extend its welcome and invitation to Mauricio and Elizabeth.
Yeah, and I know there's already been excitement around town. People have seen that they're doing some work inside the building, and they're excited to see what's coming.
Yeah.
So great. Thank you very much. We look forward to seeing you at our next meeting where we can review your application. All right.
Oh, thank you so much. I have a question. When is possible we going to pick up that permit?
The
When are
permits?
you going to pick up a permit?
Yes, in fact, Elizabeth, this is Norman Kumalo, Town Manager. Welcome to the town. Tomorrow morning, expect to receive a call from the building inspector. We want to invite you here into Town Hall, and we will walk you through the permit process.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, appreciate it for everybody.
Okay, thank you.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Good night.
Bye-bye, good night.
Okay, so now we'll move on to the Boston Marathon final preparation update. So we'll receive an update from Public Safety, DPW, on the final preparations for the 127th Boston Marathon on April 17th.
All right. Watch those fingers. Safety, safety.
I'll miss it. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for this opportunity. I'm just going to speak really quick, and then I'll let my constituents chime in from their part. So I'd like to say, as the Fire Chief Emergency Management Director for the town of Hopkinton, we are prepared the best that we can be, given the size of this event and the light that it brings to the community. So I'm comfortable saying that we are there, and we are going to do our best to provide the best protection for both the residents and the runners for this event.
Okay, great. And I saw the road closure document is in our packet.
Sure. Yep, same road closures as in the past, 6:30 directly around the common and 7 o'clock for all the incoming roads. I'd like to just begin by saying we are ready. Our planning process began last year after the event, and it begins with a debrief and collection of things that we maybe did well and things that we maybe could do better. And this is what's called a special event SEER rating, and it's a level 2. The only other events that are level 1 are the inauguration of the Super Bowl, and with that brings vast array of resources. So we have a federal coordinator assigned to us, and through NEMA and FEMA, we coordinate the efforts of 7 federal agents. We bring resources in from at least 9 states to help us. We utilize our federal, state, and local partners, as well as our relationships with our other municipal communities. And what we deliver here in town, I can tell you, is the gold standard of security planning. When a city gets chosen to host the Olympics, they come see how we do the Boston Marathon from here to Boston. And I'm very proud of it, and I tell you that we are ready. In fact, my family does come. So there's no safer place that we can build for everybody who comes, and no more of a fun environment for our runners, our spectators, and our volunteers, and our community. So please come down and enjoy it.
We will, yeah.
So from the communication side, our prep doesn't really start until the weekend before, when we start building up our command posts and our unified command posts at the police station. So far our planning's going well, figuring out where everybody's going to be and whatnot. And then once that weekend comes in and we can start physically building our spots, we'll get going on that, and we will certainly be ready for race day.
Okay. And can I just ask too, because this came up the rec discussion too, but so there'll be, like the state police will assist too, so you have extra support in a separate location, or nah?
Yeah, the easy answer to that is yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we use a lot of our own staff, and they have their own staff for their side of things. But yes, they do bring in their big trailer that it gets housed up at the school, and through magic of technology, we operate out of that, but we're physically at the police station, and they set up all our radios in our command center in our training room and make all that magic happen.
That's great.
Building on that, so going back over a decade, there are technology developments that were made in response to prepare for the 2014 bombing that are in place, and they stay in place. So our command center is built. We can stand it up in 12 hours. We can have it stood up for any major event. Yeah. And the fiber network that the town built and in collaboration and cooperation with the schools is present. So that there are enhancements in place that are available to us all year that just have to be turned on, that really help us be at the next level of preparedness.
Great. And John? Yeah.
Through the chair.
Yep.
It all starts here, and we fortunately have a dedicated and experienced staff who will make sure that we put our best foot forward as the world's attention is focused on Hopkinton. To date, the doughboy and the statues have been cleaned. The sod was placed around the doughboy and in front of the common so that area is nice and cleaned up. The street sweeping is completed. In the next 12 days, we'll accomplish the following. The street line painting will be complete. The bleachers will be moved. The sidewalks will be swept. Mulching of the common and surrounding areas will be complete. The marathon sign will be erected, and we've got litter collection that will be accomplished by volunteers from Dell and EMC. And last Sunday, we also had other volunteers who collected some 40 bags of litter from across town. So we're grateful for their assistance and we will be ready.
Yeah, I should have mentioned that at the beginning, but I noticed the volunteers around town this weekend collecting trash and then the yellow bag. So thank you to all the volunteers in town who did
Yeah,
that.
it makes a huge difference, by the way, because I've been walking. It's crazy how much stuff is tossed somehow.
Yeah, right now, and
So
it blows around in the winter and
It makes a
gets
huge
buried.
difference, so appreciate those volunteers.
But it looks great up there. I walked it this morning. It looks great.
Coming along. We will be ready on April 7th.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions?
Yeah,
or
I just
comments,
wanted
or-
to say, so, you know, this happens so fast. Y'all come in, you say this little thing, and you did allude to it, Chief, but it's a huge event, right? And it is, it's a real testimony to the teamwork of all town departments and all the people that come in, and also the Marathon Committee and the able direction of Dottie Ferder, who couldn't be here tonight. It's unbelievable what volunteers and professional staff pull off every year and make us so proud. I was just at an event this weekend, and I did the same thing that everybody does, you know, name and where you're from. And what did I say? I said, I'm from Hopkinton. In a couple of weeks, Boston Marathon. I identify with it because it's a point of real pride, and certainly it's really fortunate for all of us that we have this kind of team that pulls it off year after year after year. Sometimes twice in one year. I'm just saying.
Done that.
That was crazy.
That's a lot of work.
But really appreciate you all your teams, and Dottie and her whole team. It's amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I was just going to make a comment on how we are worldwide recognized. When my son was in the Navy, I sent him marathon T-shirts, and everybody wanted to talk to him about the marathon when he wore one. And when I was up in Newfoundland, all I did was wear a chain, my keychain, and I had at least 5 people stop and ask me about the marathon that had run it or hadn't run it, or you know, all about Boston, and it really is worldwide, and it really makes you very proud. Thank you all for your help, everybody.
And, you know, just kind of echoing on what everyone has said so far, it's a world-class event, but you guys pull it off seamlessly. And you would never know how much work goes into it, which tells me you guys are really nailing this job. So
No, it is really amazing to me. I live right on, between the school and the downtown, and, you know, somebody comes on Saturday or Sunday, delivers the fencing, and then by noontime on Monday, it's all gone.
all gone.
The trash is cleaned up, everything, yeah.
And on the international nature of this, you know, a runner, actually a TV reporter from Pakistan had reached out asking how can he get a bib, and yeah, so he's coming, and yeah, it's just super exciting.
I had a call from a fellow from Guelph, Canada, last week, whom I've got to know from laborers very well. And he's bringing his wife because this is his 25th consecutive Boston Marathon. So some people really do love coming here.
Yeah.
Well, if he gets up near me, if he gets up near me, please ask him to introduce himself.
Say hi. I will.
Thank you for all you do.
Thank you.
All right, thank you all. Good night. Okay. Boston Marathon. Okay, and then next.
This is me.
Okay, the appreciation for Ashland.
He's up there.
Yeah, oh, and Tim Kilduff, I think, is here for this agenda item too, if we could liven him up. And there's no need for Mary Jo to step into the audience for this, right?
No.
No, I think.
Thank you.
Okay, so the Select Board will consider honoring and commemorating Ashland's historical relationship to the Boston Marathon. And let's see, and Tim had emailed it an agenda for the event planned for this Thursday at 6 at the HCA. So, Mary Jo, do you see that? Yeah.
Hi. I'm here with representing Tim and the 26.2 and the BAA and everybody else involved in this thing that's going to go on Thursday night. And I hope everybody got their invitation, and I hope that all those who did are going to answer yes in the affirmative and come. It ought to be very nice. Town of Ashland spent 27 years starting this event, and we're recognizing them for all of that. And that's a long time, and they actually did all start there. So we want to recognize them for their contribution to the marathon many, many years ago. And we're going to have Who's putting this on is the Board of Selectmen, the 26.2 Foundation, the Hopkinton Center for the Arts, the Hopkinton Marathon Committee, and the Hopkinton Chamber of Commerce are all involved in this little party, and there will be wine.
Oh, she looks at me when she says that. I'd be insulted if it wasn't absolutely.
And we have a number of presentations that are going to be made to Ashland, and I think it's just a very nice thing to do, and I want to warmly welcome them to Hopkinton.
Absolutely. And I believe the Ashland Historical
Tim?
Society has some memorabilia. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no.
Tim has some. Yep. Just some memorabilia. They'll be bringing some photographs from when we started in Ashland. So I'm looking forward to all that. Tim, did you have something to add?
Thank you, Amy. Just very quickly, Thursday night, the relatively newly appointed president and CEO of the BAA will be attending, as well as the Senate President, Karen Skoka, and the Consul General of Greece, who is the highest-ranking Greek government official in New England, will be making a presentation. I'm particularly thankful for all of you for the support and interest you've shown in this really unusual, unique opportunity to pay homage to our neighbors in Ashland. And as the sign says periodically in town, it all started there.
Thank you. All right. This sounds like a great event, and I'm happy to be able to honor Ashland's contribution and mark that date, the 100th anniversary.
And many thanks to everybody who made it happen. I know that we did a tiny piece of it, but really appreciate everybody who pulled this together.
Yep. Okay. And then, so I guess we will see you on Thursday, right?
Okay, see you Thursday.
In fact, if I may,
Yes?
for the record, it may be helpful for the board to actually vote,
On a proclamation or?
yes, on the proclamation,
yes.
and a yet to be named gift.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'll make a motion
Yeah.
to present a proclamation and a yet-to-be-named gift. I hope nobody's going to embarrass me by this. I'm quite sure it's going to be a lovely gift.
Yes.
Yet-to-be-named gift, which is meant to be a surprise, no doubt, to Ashland representatives on Thursday night.
Okay.
I second that motion.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Any opposed or abstained? Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay, I think we're all set with that agenda item. Okay, next we have a new employee appointment. The Select Board will consider confirming the town manager's appointment of Eileen Matos as a public safety dispatcher.
Just want to make sure I have my calendar.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, well, welcome. And then, Norman, will you do the introduction?
Very quickly, through the chair, I am respectfully requesting the board confirm the town manager's appointment of Aline Matos as a full-time public safety communications officer or dispatcher. She's here tonight because of her hard work. She has worked with the community in two roles, and she has had a very beautiful journey coming to where she is now, starting off as an intern in the police department, transitioning to a per diem public safety dispatcher. Why a hard worker? At the same time, simultaneously, she's been working towards a BA in criminal justice and psychology. We have confirmed through your work with the community that you are a multitasker and therefore ready for the next level. We have also confirmed your excellent customer service skills and ability to be cool under pressure. When I've chatted on and off with the police chief, clearly he has recognized your contributions dating back to your first day here as an intern in the department. So with that, I'm respectfully requesting the board affirm the town manager's appointment of Aline as a full-time dispatcher.
Okay, thank you very much, and welcome. And it sounds like you've been here already, so that is always a great place to start. You get to know the environment and be sure you want to work here. So that's excellent. Do board members have questions or comments?
So more just a comment, I just love it when I see somebody work their way up, and coming here as an intern and working with the chief and learning the ropes. It's warms my heart to see that you're able to move in and become a dispatcher. So I'm super happy for you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I'll just say that you're joining a great team, and we're really happy to welcome you. So appreciate that you're here, and we wish you good luck, and let us know how we can support you.
I mean, I'm happy to be part of a great team and a great community that's been welcoming me since I started here, so very happy for it.
Mary Jo?
Well, I just want to say welcome to Hopkinton. We're glad to have you. And everything just looks great, and I think you're going to be a good addition to the force.
Thank you.
Okay, then with that, unless Megan has anything to add? Or?
The only thing, Mr. Kamalo kind of took some of my words, but she did start as an intern, been per diem about 8 months now, and through that time, both internship and her per diem work, she's been a valuable asset when it comes to non-English speaking folks.
Great.
She speaks Portuguese, I believe, and can handle some Spanish, and it's helped on phone calls, it's helped with booking procedures, she's helped other departments when they've had a situation where they had someone in town that didn't speak English, she was able to help them. So she's been a great asset to have so
That's
far.
excellent, yeah.
I warmly welcome her to full-time.
Okay.
Fantastic.
With that, do you want to do the motion? Or?
Yeah, Madam Chair, I move to confirm the town manager's appointment of Aline Matos as a public safety dispatcher in the communications department.
Second.
Okay, and then I don't think we have Shagul yet, so all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed or abstain? No? Okay, thank you.
Welcome aboard.
Welcome.
Just in time for the marathon, no pressure.
We did a picture last week. Should we do
Oh, yes, picture?
Yes.
Yeah, should we?
No problem.
Aline, if the board is asking if you can take a picture.
Yeah, it's fine.
We get to run away that quickly.
That's it.
Join us, we all, should we leave a space so we can see Mary Jo?
No, I will get up, but I'm just looking for the shortest point.
A little bit of a sore knee, so be patient. Come on, everybody.
With any luck, I'll have a new one shortly.
That'll work.
Here we go.
All right.
Smiles.
A clown car. Oh, yeah, a good one there.
Congratulations. Who's in the I do too. I meant to say something and I did.
I meant to say it too.
Okay. Special.
Cultural council event.
Okay, it's not quite 7:50, but I see Nancy here and I see Carol and Susan on Zoom, so we could, am I going to go get Tim maybe? It's a financial thing.
Yep. I'm with you. Took me a minute. Took me a moment.
Are we waiting for
Are
someone?
we ready to begin, or do we need, can we liven up Carol Kavanaugh and Susan Mothermick?
Yes. And
Are you waiting for Tim
no,
O'Leary? Or?
No, we're good. And also the chair of the school committee is here.
Yeah.
Come on down. Don't hide back here. Come on. You might need to move the microphone a tiny bit.
Yeah, or move
there you go. Or yourself.
Okay, so tonight we're going to discuss the Special Education Reserve Fund spending. The Select Board will hear the recommendation of the school committee and consider voting to approve the expenditure of funds from the school Special Education Reserve Fund. So who's going to, are you going to introduce that, Nancy, or Carol?
I'm leaving that to the professional staff to introduce that.
Okay, so Carol or Susan, do you want to give us a little background?
Sure, I'd be happy to. And I apologize that we're not there. We were double booked tonight with the ESBC. So we had 2 meetings going on concurrently. So I appreciate you letting us attend via Zoom. And Nancy, I appreciate you actually being able to be there. What we're looking for tonight is the Special Education Reserve Fund. So as you recall, in May of 22, this Special Education Reserve Fund was created for the FY23 budget. The special education budget for out-of-district tuition estimate for 23 will be fully expended. To expend the appropriation, we need a majority vote of the school committee and the select board. We are spending the general fund appropriation for the budget first, and so if there is money left over, the reserve would be spent last. The general fund, or the fund appropriation, is $1,094,024, and the amount requested to be spent is the same. The school committee approved this request for spending on January 19th.
Okay, thank you. And there was information about this on in our packet as well. And I remember we put this money in reserve last year. So, and then we were hoping we wouldn't need to spend it all, but it looks like because with the increase in the cost of special education, we will have to do that. Okay, does anyone have any questions or comments about this?
Yeah.
Yep.
We're appropriating this, I just want to get this right, from the special ed fund?
Mm-hmm. I think
to...
So this was appropriated at the May of 22 town meeting. So it's already been appropriated, but we need permission both from the school committee and the select board to actually spend the money.
So it's there,
okay.
it's
so
there in the fund.
Approval to spend.
Correct.
Right. And special education went up, I think, 14%, right, for the out-of-district this year? Yes. It's considerable.
Through the chair, this was...
14%? 14% across the board. It averaged about 2% over the past 10 years, and in October they voted to increase it to 14% for all districts that are sending kids to private special education schools. So.
Through the chair, this was appropriated at town meeting, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, we would just be transferring it to be, or authorizing it to be actually
go ahead and spend it.
Yeah.
I do have just one question, and I'm fully in support of this, but so this would empty the account. We are hoping to appropriate more for future budgets at town meeting?
FY24, we are placing, I think, an equal amount into this reserve. So the answer is yes. In FY24, we are requesting an appropriation to be made into the reserve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then if I understood you right, I don't. If the full amount is not needed, it won't be pulled out of the stabilization fund. It's possible that some would remain and begin to build the account if you didn't have to spend it.
Like if there were fewer students at a district than you expected.
Is that what you?
Is that right?
We spend this money last. Is that what you said, Susan? I'm sorry.
Yes, that's correct. We spend this money last.
Yep. Okay. All right. I don't really have any questions.
I'm all set.
Yep, I think I'm
Okay, so Madam Chair, I move to approve the expenditure of $1,094,024 from the school special education reserve fund.
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed or abstain? And, yeah, Shaidulla's not on yet. Okay. Just wanna, if he is, we have to start doing the roll call again. So.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay, so next we will be talking about annual town meeting. We'll consider reviewing the town meeting warrant, and we had a draft motions document in our packet as well. And we'll consider taking positions on warrant articles and finalize ballot questions, because this is the deadline. The ballot will be, to submit ballot questions, I think, is the 10th, which would be before our next meeting, so we have to decide.
Numbers assigned.
What's it?
Numbers have.
Yes, numbers assigned. Okay, we'll vote to sign the warrant after the 10th, the 11th at our next meeting. Okay, and so there are, I think it's 5 ballot questions. We could just say them out loud for the public before we, 6 questions. So in the draft warrant here we have, question 1 is for sidewalks from Chestnut to Wild Road and to Smith Road. Question 2 is sidewalk between AMC Park and Fitch Avenue, which connects to Blueberry Lane. Question 3 is a bond issued to pay for the architectural and engineering design for the Fire Station 2. That's in Woodville. Question 4 is to pay for the bond in order to pay for the Hopkinton Public Schools HVAC renewal work. Question 5 is to pay for the bond issued to pay for the Hopkins School addition project. And question 6, let's see, is the bond to pay for the reconstruction and paving of Pratt Way and the roadways within Evergreen and Mount Auburn cemeteries. And then I had one question. I know we talked about sidewalks. We might try to seek other funding sources, but do you recommend we still keep them on the ballot?
Yeah, through the chair, respectfully, I'm recommending that we keep them in the pool of ballot questions. When we construct the motions for approval at town meeting, we will include language that will acknowledge that the town will be seeking grants. We have done similar language with other projects in town.
Okay, so if we could receive grants, then the ballot question wouldn't matter, but this is the deadline to put it in, I guess. Okay. Did anyone else have any questions about those 6 questions?
So I don't have any questions. I'm in favor. I mean, it's allowing the town to vote, allowing the public to vote. It's questions. Yeah, I'm fine with it.
Mary Jo? You okay? All right.
Okay.
Okay, so Muriel, you're all set?
No, I'm all set, thank you.
Okay, so then we would need a motion to approve the 6 ballot questions as printed in the warrant.
I move that we accept the questions as written.
Second.
Ballot questions.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
While we're on the annual...
We only had 2 ayes. What? Oh, I didn't hear everybody say aye. Did everyone say aye?
Yeah, everybody said aye.
Okay. All right.
Through the chair, while we're on the annual town meeting, I know at one of our select board meetings, we talked about the short-term rentals, and I said I was against it, and it was really late, and I didn't really have an opportunity to explain why I'm against it.
Okay.
So if the rest of the board members will humor me, I just want to kind of articulate why I am against it. So while I sympathize with the situation that happened with the house that was being rented out as an Airbnb or whatever, I do think that, if I looked at the websites for Airbnb, for Vrbo, HomeAway, and there's always a way for the neighbors to complain to the company and let them know what's going on and how the house is being treated. I'm a property rights guy, and I believe that government intrusion on your property should really be necessitated by a government purpose. And here, I just don't see it. I think it's a restriction on what people can do with their properties. If somebody else would say, oh, well, now you got to get a license to go put on solar panels. I know that hasn't been suggested.
Well, you have to get a permit. Right?
You got to get a permit, yeah. But that, a permit for... There's a whole structure for getting the permit, but it's related to solar. This just seems to be creating a whole program to resolve one issue. And frankly, I think we all already have the opportunities in nuisance regulations and noise regulations and trash regulations within town to enforce it and prevent that kind of situation. I sympathize that it was a difficult situation, but I don't think we need to expend town resources in creating a new licensing system. And that's why I oppose it. And everyone else can have their own opinions, but just I thought I left everyone hanging, and I thought I should express why.
Yeah, no, I appreciate hearing your perspective, I think.
I hope we hear from you again at town meeting.
Yeah.
So, Norman, we've taken positions on several articles. Are there articles we have not yet taken position on that we should?
No, in fact, the board expressed its position relative to whether the articles be included in the warrant. At your next meeting, we will present you with a list of articles that the board will need to take formal positions on, where we can then include your recommendation as part of the motions document.
So we don't have that list, and we're not ready to do that tonight?
Correct.
Okay. And does anyone else have any other questions and comments on the warrant then?
I can wait till next week.
So I guess, let me see. Yeah, we still have a little more time before the warrant is printed, right, till after our next meeting, or no, will be printed before our next meeting, is it?
I feel like this is a really good time, through you, Madam Chair, to remind people that the annual town meeting is May 1st.
Yeah.
It's at the middle school auditorium. It begins at 7. We really enthusiastically encourage folks to participate, to come and to stay, so that we can hopefully move through the articles without interruption and finish as soon as possible. And also the EHOP event, where people can get a more sort of condensed snapshot of information, is, please help
So
me.
that's Tuesday, April 18th at 7 p.m., and it's at HCAMP Studios. You could come in person, but you can also watch it on TV or YouTube. Yeah.
And feel free to reach out and ask questions and get the information that you need at any time.
Yep. And then I'm skimming through, did we add an ADA statement to the warrant that if people needed additional accommodations besides what we already provide, how they would request them? Or we would put it on the website somewhere?
We were thinking perhaps we can add that statement in the motions document. However, we lose nothing by also restating it in the warrant.
Yeah, I think it would be worth stating it in the warrant, because not everybody reads the motions document. The warrant, well, not short, but it's a little bit shorter.
I agree. It
And
doesn't
just
hurt to have
generally.
it both places, to be honest.
Yeah.
And only 48 articles.
And
actually fewer than some years.
Yeah, that is true. I think we've had 60 some years, so that's good. And you're going to be working on a consent agenda that will that be ready for the next meeting? Or?
In fact, through the chair, if I may, this may also be a nice segue into discussing some of the issues that the board has raised over the past months, beginning right after our last town meeting.
When we did the survey, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Conducted a survey, collected some very helpful information from the community, and through separate meetings, the board has, in fact, allowed staff working alongside the town moderator to focus on several issues, all designed to improve participation at town meeting. Number one, we are discussing bringing back the consent agenda. We will continue our conversations. I'm sure if Connor, with your permission, if Connor is on the screen too, he may have something to add. Secondly, is the issue.
Connor. Yeah.
Yes. Secondly, is the issue regarding babysitting. Our focus is not necessarily to ask town employees to do that. We want to work with a local organization that is interested in moving this forward. And number three, we are looking into the opportunity to at least find a working concept to bring back electronic voting. We believe we may have an opportunity to do that even at this annual town meeting. So pending further discussions with the town clerk as well as with the town moderator, we may have an answer to that.
But even for this coming town meeting?
We are optimistic, but cautiously, yeah. And then last but not least, at staff level, we've already put together a simple postcard that we want to send out as soon as possible. Just sending the message, town meeting is coming, May 1st. Generally, this is what is going to be discussed at town meeting. Please save that date. So it's a postcard that we're going to send to all residences here in Hopkinton. So those are 4 very concrete steps that we believe we can move forward.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely support the idea of the postcard going to everybody, too. They could put it on their calendar or on their fridge.
Yep.
Yeah. I know it's expensive, but...
And I know that this has already been covered, but can I ask a question through you, Madam Chair? So the last time we did the electronic voting, by the way, we have all experienced it very successfully, which I'm thrilled about, but it wasn't successful when we did it at town meeting, and I think because we didn't have the appropriate technology in place.
I think we didn't do a Wi-Fi infrastructure test, I don't think.
The process was, yeah, I'm sure Connor will jump in here. From my perspective, the process was working well until we got to a point where there were more people than devices that were available for people to use.
In the connection, I think once too many people were in the room, that we couldn't all connect to the Wi-Fi. It was my memory, too, that we all got in at first, but then later more people came.
Yeah.
Because I know at work, when we have the kids all take the MCAS electronically at the exact same time, we always do an infrastructure test, a week or 2 in advance, where all the kids come. They all try to get in their devices at once, and we see what happens with the network, just to make sure it can handle it, or we can bring in more.
So we could maybe have the students do that for us and try to log on to their, onto the app, actually, up at the middle school, right? If you had all the kids.
Extra credit?
Well, I mean, if they all logged on, it would replicate the load.
Yeah, it would. And I don't know. So I share the same concern about that, also that it's a little late to introduce the idea of electronic voting now that we're a month away, but I do support moving toward it eventually.
I will say that when we went to the convention, we were all a little skeptical, and it worked beautifully.
Yes, that's true.
So I'm optimistic that it can work, but I remember that it didn't work, and want to just make sure that we at least looked at the issues that we had previously, and solved those, and make sure those are in the book.
So, Connor, did you have anything to add on that front?
Yes, if you don't mind. I reiterate as well what Norman says. We've talked with Ellen and really made some attempts to try to see what we can do to address the barriers that were presented during the last town meeting. So the consent agenda, I think, is one that we've all kind of got on board with. When we just started talking about electronic voting, I don't think we were actually looking at the votes model like you were referring to for the convention at the last town meeting. I think that the last time that we did it, one of the issues we ran into is we were their first attempt at an open town meeting. So there were other complex pieces that they had to face that they didn't see with something like a convention or a representative town meeting, where you end up having a set number of people that are going to be attending and voting. But we were actually also looking into the methods that would involve actually potentially leasing hardware. Because there's existing ones that if you do the lease methods, then you get to keep up with upgrading the technology without saddling yourself with the technology itself. So, we're looking at multiple options, and we're looking at kind of, we're not jumping in that we have to get this done by the annual town meeting. We're looking at ways that we could potentially get it involved there, and even at a following town meeting, if possible, or the votes method for it. But there's three other major folks and companies and vendors who are doing the electronic voting for town meetings that we were potentially going to be considering. And we're just going to look and see, what are we talking about for potential? But we're, it's kind of still being explored. We're trying to figure out what the best option to move forward for town. But we're hoping that if we can get successful electronic voting established, then what we're really looking at is a huge cut down in the time it takes to do vote counts. As anyone who's been at enough town meetings knows, can take up a good chunk of the time.
Yep. And so, Connor, can I ask about that? If we were to lease the devices or clickers, typically we have under 300 people attend town meeting, but some years we've had over 600 attend. So how many clickers or devices would we get?
So that's one of the concerns. That was part of why we looked at votes in the first place, was that exact concern. But realistically, we could do the lease method by anticipated numbers and average numbers and have backups still on hand. So, it's still entirely possible to do it. We have to over-prepare when we're doing lease options when we have actual hardware. Versus, the one thing that is nice about having a system like votes is, you can rely on the technology that most people already have. The concern I think I have with going with a personal smartphone approach is we did have issues with the Wi-Fi last time. That wasn't something that the vendor could really do much to help. It was just that when we finally got everyone on, it was problematic.
Yeah.
I worry about the public perception, because public perception with that first attempt at it was about 50-50. As much as there are some who really despised it, and there are some who absolutely loved it, and were asking when we were bringing it back. And it didn't fit into the demographics you'd imagine either, which was actually very refreshing. So I think it was, in some ways, we got a glimpse into how we could move that forward. I would like to see, I think it's going to be important to talk with, I'm kind of communicating with a bunch of my fellow clerks who have open town meeting and how they address this when they use electronic voting at town meeting. Because many other towns are doing this, especially towns of our size that are trying to make this move faster. So I'm kind of looking at how they're adapting it as well.
Okay. So, I definitely support moving forward in that direction. I'm just a little worried about the time crunch right now. So, but at our next meeting, will you have a more definite idea what we could do this time?
Jordan and I are having a meeting with Ellen to talk about kind of final, what things we can pull off of this meeting, what things might have to be potentially considered. If we're going to have a potential special in the fall, we could even, potentially look at that. So, it's not set in stone at the moment. We don't want to say it's definitely going to be a town meeting and then, rush it to execute it and then potentially ruin the chance that we have of keeping it long term.
Okay.
By your next meeting, we'll definitely have a clearer idea of what's going on with that.
Okay, that sounds good. And then if it's too late for this year, there's always the fall town meeting where there would only be a couple of questions on the warrant, so that could be a good time to test something too.
Exactly.
Okay. All right, so do we have anything else? Well, Norman stepped out. Do we need to discuss, or does anyone else have any other questions about town meeting or the warrant?
Yeah, you still have me here, so.
Yeah. Do you have any, Orlean is here too. Orlean, do you know if there's anything else we need to address for town meeting on the agenda tonight?
Only, I think we have numbers, and the warrant seems to be in good shape, and adding the notice. I don't think there's anything left on the warrant, unless you've noticed any typos or things that need to be corrected.
Yep, so I think just the ADA statement. I had that suggested in addition to the, for the short-term lease bylaw about having an exception if people only did it once a year. But then you sent me the attorney's comments on that. So I guess that can wait till next time where, you can always change the motion on town meeting floor. let's see. Hold on, I feel like I had one more question. Let me check my notes here. Oh, and the participatory budget items, those were still in yellow in our packet, but you're going to have information on those next time?
Yes. We are planning to present the recommended projects at the next select board meeting.
Okay, great. And then...
And give you the plan information for the easements, not in here yet, but they will be for next time.
They'll be there for next time, okay. And then, also I had asked about the Lake Maspinock Dam Committee. There's a couple articles about that. So have they been, do they need to take a vote on that, and have they done that, or is it not required?
Yeah, if the question is in relation to the easements that are required for the repair work that we're doing, we are not relying on the committee to do that. That's a town decision. It's being sponsored through the town manager's office and the director of public works. So the committee does not have a direct bearing on.
Okay, I guess I would just be a little worried if someone from that committee came up at town meeting and said they didn't know about it. So the committee knows about it? Is that, even if their vote is not required?
I'm looking at John.
We have a Lake Maspinock Dam Advisory Committee. Are they up to speed on these issues, or they have not been meeting?
They have not been meeting,
yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would it be a good idea, though, to let them know? I wouldn't want them to get up on the floor of town meeting and say they didn't know.
Yeah, we will let them know.
Okay, I think
we
that
will
would
ask,
be
we will
a good
ask for
idea.
their support at town meeting.
Yeah. Okay, thanks. I think those were all my remaining questions. Anyone else?
I'm good.
No, I'm good.
Okay. All right, then we have FY24 budget update. So we'll hear an update on the budget process. And for the FY24 budget timeline, the Appropriation Committee has already started conducting their departmental budget reviews with senior leaders, and I listened to the school one at least. And they'll have a public hearing at 6 p.m. on Monday, April 10th, here in the Select Board meeting room. And their other Appropriation Committee meetings are recorded but not usually televised. Will the hearing be televised? Do we know?
We have not reached out to our partners at HCAM. I'll certainly reach out to Jim and see if they will televise it.
I think that would be good, or at least if they could, even if it's recorded, if they put it on YouTube later, that would be good, because I feel like there's a lot of interest this year.
Okay.
Okay, so do you have any updates for us then, Norman, on the budget?
No extra comments beyond, again, reiterating that the public hearing is scheduled at 6 p.m. on Monday, April 10th, here at Town Hall.
Okay. All right, do any select board members have any questions about the budget? Any?
No, not at this time.
Okay. I just always like to look at the timeline to make sure, we're all on target here. So that's a goal. Okay, so tonight we needed to review the warrant and the warrant articles, finalize the ballot questions, and review the draft motions. Appropriations Committee is the next step, their public hearing next week. All right. Warrant and motions, this document is supposed to be completed by the 7th, so we should see that at our next meeting. Oh, and I saw that committee senior leaders and citizens petitioners were requested to send their PowerPoint presentations in by April 10th, so I think that's really good that we've done that so far in advance. Okay, and then so that's all that's on the timeline for now, and next time we'll do more finalizations. Okay, are we done with budget?
We're done.
Okay. All right, next is the town manager report.
Yes, through the chair, starting off with Main Street Corridor Project, there's one important development from yesterday. It was not included in your packet, but I thought it would be helpful for us to share that with the community. We invited Mass DOT to come to Hopkinton. They were here yesterday, and we worked specifically on 3 aspects of the project going forward, beginning with from the Main Street intersection going to the Common. We identified an area that we would like to be widened. The response from Mass DOT was very positive. the proposal by the town, at least from our preliminary review, will not result in any additional costs to the project. And so they appeared to be very supportive of that adjustment. Second piece that we addressed goes back to the adjustments that were discussed previously on the westerly side of the project, whereby on the southerly side, we've made the adjustment where, as part of widening, we pulled out perhaps in some areas 1 to 2 feet, opened up the roadway. We reported back then that we were going to investigate the opportunities on the northerly side. We did identify a specific area where that will happen. Mass DOT is going to review that and come back to us. But again, they seemed supportive of the need to make that adjustment.
Great. Okay.
And then the third issue that we discussed has to do with the aesthetics around the project. We are requesting, at a minimum, an additional 11 trees to be planted, especially from the fire station going all the way back to Wood Street. We are a small suburban town in New England, and we love our trees. We want to make sure that there are more trees along the corridor. The second piece, again, Mass DOT appeared to be very receptive to that idea. They will work with us in terms of the budget and see where things are. And then the third thing that we discussed was a response that we have received from members of the public. Through public meetings, discussions with the community and the Historic District Commission, a decision was made during the design phase of the project that we use stamped concrete, which is similar to what you find already at the Common. It will be used at crosswalks. It will also be used as an accent line on the southerly side of the corridor, especially between, no, not especially, but specifically between the capping that marks the edge of the roadway and the beginning of the separated bike lanes. We have received feedback from some members of the community that they would like us to revisit using actual brakes. There are many reasons why that would be a challenge, but we brought up the subject with Mass DOT to see how they would respond. And clearly they asked for additional information that we are now preparing and will send over. Again, purely for discussion purposes.
Okay, one question I had, or a clarification I want to make. When you said, you phrased it that we wanted to make the road wider, and there's been some confusion in the community. So right now it's extremely wide, like at the crosswalk at Hayden Row to Main Street near the Common, and we're not talking about making it even wider, right? No, we're in general narrowing it to a consistent width, but the consistent width will be a little bit wider.
Yes, in fact, specifically from the intersection perhaps to right around the town hall corridor, we've narrowed the travel way. Based on our experiences on the westerly part of the corridor.
It's a little too narrow.
Yes, we were looking at perhaps bringing back 1 or 2 feet, just again between the intersection and town hall.
Okay, that's so great news about that they're going to cover the cost for that at that portion, and we're still waiting to hear about the north side, but that sounds great. Did anyone else have questions or comments?
Nope.
Okay, PFAS update then?
Yeah, PFAS update. I'm specifically looking for board support with regard to the new budget that has come up for the project. Namely, you will recall we discussed this issue before. We appropriated $600,000 to implement the filtration system at well number 6. We have since bid out the project, and also on Monday, yesterday, finalized our discussions with our consultant. Whereas I had indicated a specific number as the gap between the 600 and the total cost of the project, the information that we have learned from the bid process as well as from our discussions with the contract have brought that number up to, and John is here with the specifics. Yeah.
Through the chair, thank you, Norman. Excuse me. As Norman said, we had appropriated $600,000 at the town meeting. The construction cost is $1,198,737. As Norman mentioned, the discussion that we had with Weston and Sampson, they propose a contract for construction administration and compliance with DEP permits in the amount of $217,500. And finally, we had previously made a purchase of the vessels for $157,177. So the total amount is $1,573,000. Let me try that again, excuse me. $1,573,414. So our shortfall is $973,414.
So 900,000 some, okay.
973,414.
9,734.
Basically $1 million.
Yes.
Okay.
And again, as we've discussed, I'm proposing that we fund this balance through our upper funds. And I'm suggesting a two-step process. Tonight, ask the board for your support. And then secondly, we will schedule a public hearing where we will discuss the decision to use upper funds for this purpose. Timing is of the essence. We have said that as a town, we need to address this issue immediately. We have bid out the project. The contractor is ready to begin at the end of April.
Yeah, so I understand about inflation and the construction costs and everything, and I think it's really, the public really we really need to solve this, and it's really important to get going. So I definitely support if we can use ARPA funds doing that for the shortfall. I don't want the public hearing to delay it too much, though, but I think that is always a good idea to have a public hearing.
When will public hearing be?
When will we schedule?
We're willing to schedule this as early as next Wednesday.
Oh, next week, okay.
Yeah. Give the public 7 days notice and call for the meeting.
All right, is everyone comfortable with that? And then after that, we'd still be able to do construction at end of April?
We'll still be able to what, sorry?
Do construction, start construction at end of April?
Through the chair, the contractor has been given the notice to proceed, so they are preparing their contract documents and necessary bonding and insurance.
Okay. So is everyone okay with that plan?
We need to provide clean water.
We have to provide clean water.
Yeah, through you, Madam Chair, I'm totally on board, and actually pretty thrilled that we can start finally soon, right? I do have a couple of questions, though, in terms of making sure that we do our, not in terms of starting this project, but doing our due diligence at the site and inquiring for the DEP, given the recent information that we have from a local news agent and so forth, inquiring with the Board of Health and the DEP to do some testing to understand exactly what's happening on that site in terms of PFAS.
Very good point. From the front end, one of the questions I asked when we met with the consultant yesterday was assurances that the system that we're putting in place will actually be compliant with the new EPA.
Oh, with the new standard. Okay.
Right.
We received assurances that that was the case. And then in terms of, I think what we are reading from the Hope News article, the town at this point may not have the ability to focus on the sources of the contamination. Whilst it's important to understand that wherever the PFAS is coming from would not overwhelm the new filtration system, we have received some assurances from our engineers that will not be the case. Identifying the sources of the PFAS, we're really relying on our partners at the federal as well as state level. The Biden administration has said it is putting resources towards better understanding the science behind PFAS, what its causes are, and where it may have come from. Yes, there are suggestions that have been made with regard to what may have caused the PFAS here in Hopkinton. However, in terms of putting resources, funding that effort, we're really relying on our partners at the federal and state level.
So through you, Madam Chair, so that is not direct enough and immediate enough to satisfy me. And there's a couple reasons. I'm very confident in the solution that we are putting forward for the folks that are on public water. The impact of what may have happened out there is also affecting people who are not on public water. So we can't not know what has gone on out there with some assurance. For the folks that are on the downstream side of what may have happened there who are on private wells. So for me, I think we need to get a little enthusiastic about really digging in, asking our Board of Health to lean in on this, and certainly asking the state. The state, if it was a regional fire academy, the state should also be invested in helping us out because it was a state activity. So I want to find out what all of our options are. I want to know what all the information is. I want the public fully aware of what the concerns may or may not be, and I want us to be enthusiastically chasing that down.
Yes, I think we may, perhaps to be very clear, the town will not leave any stone unturned in identifying where this comes from. Currently, we have very limited knowledge on how to test for PFAS that is on land.
So we just need to find out how to do it.
That's exactly, that's what we're saying. And we're not the ones determining that science. We do not have the ability to determine that science. We will rely on the feds and the state level to tell us this is the science that works, this is how you do.
Soon. I'm not waiting for the feds to figure themselves out, right? We need to find out soon.
I think your point's well taken. So maybe we could arrange to talk to our state leaders and our federal leaders and express this concern to them too, because if it is someone else's fault, then maybe they would pay for some of the remediation too.
We need to really be working this issue. If we have a hard local source, we need to be working that.
Yeah. If I may, just to add, I think we have an opportunity to immediately engage our legislative team. Here's why. This afternoon, we received information on somewhat good news. The Biden administration is making available to Massachusetts $14 million to address PFAS. On the one hand,
14 million?
Yes.
That doesn't...
That's the point. That's the point. That's the point. That on the one hand is good news, but it's not really good news.
Not enough,
Yeah, it's not really good. Even 14 million will not be sufficient even for Hopkinton.
Right.
Yeah. So that's for 350 towns and cities here.
Yeah, so also to echo, Shaidul brought this up last time too, but also perhaps we should have some kind of forum for private well owners, like even though they can call the Board of Health, maybe at some point we can have a forum so they can learn in person, make sure they're knowing how to test their well and all those things.
Another good point. We are now sharing broadly the information that is available for private well owners. As recent as yesterday, I was speaking with Sean on how he can bring visibility to how the Board of Health can support residents in answering some of these questions around what happens if I have PFAS in my private well. And why, just to explain to the public why we're making that suggestion, is because in Hopkinton, like any other town, the Board of Health is the entity in town that has authority over private wells.
Okay. If I can say one more thing. Yeah. Through you, Madam Chair, we do have the capacity to test water. We can drill test pits on the site where we think it could have happened, and we need that information. And we need to inform private well owners where they are in terms of the aquifer and the water flow, depending on what we find out. And we need to tell them how they can test their private wells and how they can pursue remediation or correction. We need to get a little bit serious about this if it all starts here at the Old Pine property.
Absolutely correct. As we said, it's an emerging science.
Not the water testing. We can test water pits. That's today's science. That's why we know our water has PFAS in it.
If I may finish?
Sure.
It has to be a method that DEP will accept the results from. That's where we need to put our effort, to make sure that that's whatever method we use is the one that DEP will accept.
Let's find out.
Yeah.
Okay. So maybe by our next meeting, we could draft a letter to our legislative team too. That might be just to help. I don't know.
Don't make me call the DEP myself. I've done that before.
Reading an article that's here, there's more than one really possible site. I mean, they talked about the Fire Academy site, but they're talking about the golf course and using certain chemicals that could have gotten into the wells, and they're talking about another area that they think is contaminating too.
Yes, and that area that they mentioned is the area in Ashland around the granite. What's the name of the
asphalt?
Yeah, asphalt. Yes, yes. Yeah.
Yeah, and information is power. Let's get as much as we can.
Okay, so did we vote to, or I don't know if we need to vote, but we expressed that we support Norman's plan to have the public hearing and then use the ARPA funds, correct?
Yes, you have my support. Do we need a vote?
Do you need us to vote on that?
I think the consensus is pretty clear. We're fine with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
You done with it?
Well, before you go.
Well, we still have the MWRA to talk through too. But
there you go.
Yeah.
Okay, so the MWRA, the update on that.
Yeah, MWRA, as we reported to the board, Southborough had a positive vote on the appropriation that they would require to peer review the engineering work that is conducted by Town of Hopkinton for the project. Therefore, the next step now is for us to finalize the IMA and then get the town's consultant to begin the design process. This is going to be a long road. Permitting such projects through the state entities is a long, long marathon.
I'm very glad we have the ball rolling to get started anyway.
Yes.
Okay, any other questions? But that's mostly what we heard last time too, right? So, okay.
Mr. Wessling, before you leave, we were informed of your future plans, and I'm terribly sad to see you go, but congratulations and best of luck in your future endeavors.
We absolutely, through you, Madam Chair, appreciate your dedicated service over many years. How many years?
12.
12 years. And have appreciated sort of the level of professionalism, the way your department has grown with our town, and the way you and your department has served us so well over those 12 years. So thank you.
Yeah, we always appreciate you at town meeting and know your vote and explaining everything for everybody and getting us through, at least on the road to solving the PFAS issue. Really appreciate that as well.
Through the chair, I just want to say thank you to the select board, to the town manager, and to the residents of Hopkinton. This was not an easy decision for me to make. It was many long conversations with my wife over dinner. But it was an opportunity that I couldn't pass up for my family and for myself professionally. But Hopkinton has been home for the past 12 years, and the town of Hopkinton has been a very rewarding career choice for me 12 years ago to make, because Hopkinton and its residents understand the importance of the work that everybody at the Department of Public Works does and the importance of infrastructure to the community. And the community has been extremely supportive of the Department of Public Works with our new facility, with the infrastructure that we propose. And I have been blessed to be working with such professionals and dedicated employees that we have at the Department of Public Works, number one, but also with my other colleagues in other departments. It has truly been a very rewarding experience for me. So I send my thanks to the community, to the residents, and to everyone who's been so supportive. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, was there anything else from the town manager's report tonight?
We all set. Thank you.
All set, okay. And after that, I think it might be liaison assignments and invites.
Just the MWRTA. I know they just, the senior center just thanked them again for their new van that they've been using, that they got, and it looks good, and they've been showing pictures of it, and I want to say that they are coming back with their fees again. They had suspended their fees because of COVID, and now they're coming back with their fees. They have one other problem, and that is that they are the least funded of all the RTAs, being the newest RTA. So like GATRA and a lot of the others are way up in their funding. So we really do need to talk to our legislators and tell them to look into that and see if we can't get a little more parity. The meeting I went to was a budget meeting, but that is one of their very main concerns, is that they're starting off at a much lower level than everybody else, and we need to help them get some parity so that we can get the best service that we can.
All right, does anyone else?
The only thing I have is that we received an invitation for the ribbon cutting at the new location for Project Just Because.
There was something I was missing. Yeah. When is that?
The 14th at 2 to 3:30, I think.
Oh, here it is. Okay. The 14th at 2 p.m., so I don't think I can make that. Can anyone else go?
I have RSVP'd that I will go.
Okay, great. It's at the new location, 77 South Street. The 14th at 2 p.m., and there's an RSVP link that they sent to us.
I never know for sure, but if I can, I would go.
Okay. Yeah. Great. All right, I knew I was missing something. Okay, and then I was just going to mention too, we were invited to the wreath ceremony in Boston at the Greek Consulate, which is the Thursday the 13th, and I did confirm that we are all invited, not just the chair.
I don't think I saw the email, so that's so interesting.
Yeah, I can
I'm not able to go on the 14th. I would have loved to go.
I'm unable to go.
Oh, wait, hold on. Is it April?
No, that's for the...
That's the HCA. Hold on.
Oh, that's the Thursday night.
I asked Tim the wrong question, so hold on. I asked him the wrong question on that one. Okay. Anyway, so Thursday, April 13th at 6 p.m. is the Boston wreath ceremony, and I think I can go, and Mary Jo thought she
Yeah,
could go
well, I'm not driving in.
too. Okay, she'll be able to drive.
So if
Okay.
I can go with someone, I'll go.
Okay, great. And then Hopkinton 101 is, I've forgotten the date now, but I...
6th, I think. Maybe Norm should check.
Hold on, that can't be the 6th. It must be this weekend.
What do you mean it can't be the 6th?
Wasn't the 6th isn't a weekend, is it? Oh, it is. Okay, so sorry, Saturday, May 6th. Okay, we got plenty of time for that. I was thinking you meant April 6th. But...
Oh.
Okay, so never mind. That's far into the future. We can talk about that. But we have reserved a table for the select board and town managers, as usual. Okay, great. And I can definitely go.
Do we know? We should just. Do we know what day and time it is?
So Hopkinton 101. Oh, it
Yes.
doesn't say time yet. It just
It's
says-
Saturday. Yeah, hours are still to be determined.
Okay.
What did you say?
The time
Saturday,
is
May
not-
6th, hours are still to be determined.
I gotcha. Okay, and it's going to be up at the high school, inside.
Yes.
Okay.
It was on the Common last year.
It was on the Common last year. Yeah. And they lucked out with a nice day. I guess that's the challenge with the Common. It might not be.
So where's it this year?
At the high school. Cafeteria, I think. Okay, any other liaison reports or invites? Okay. Any future agenda items that are not already on our list?
Madam Chair, I move to adjourn the meeting.
Okay, let's quick discussion, because I've been looking through our future agenda items just to see, and some of them I think could be removed that we've kind of already addressed, and so but I didn't want to presume that somebody felt that their issue had been addressed yet. So, if I would appreciate everyone took a look at the list.
That's a good idea.
And see if there's something.
I've noticed that too.
Yeah,
And
that
some need to be somehow driven to the topic.
Yeah, driven back up. Okay, great. Okay, then, so you said made a motion to adjourn in a second? Okay. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed or abstained? Okay, great.